Okay, so we are going to go ahead and do a demo of Dave's solar recorder. If you are a solar imager, this product has become one of my favorite for solar astronomy outreach in particular. And I wanted to go ahead and tie this into a review that I did for episode 75 of my podcast, which is at the Eyepiece. You can find out more information on that if you go to Blog Talk Radio / at the Eyepiece. Of course, here on Google Plus, you can circle me, John Kramer, and you'll be all up to date with all that good stuff as well, video posts, etc. And of course, my blog at theeyepiece.com. So, I found this product while trying to find a perfect product for solar astronomy outreach, and this really does come close. This is from Starry Dave. To download the product, just go to starrydave.com. Yes, it is free, so that's like ding, 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 added bonus. You'll go ahead and you'll see a link on the left, or the right rather, that says Pages, Dave's Solar Recorder. Once you click on that, you'll see some demonstrations, by the way, of the product here, which really highlights what the product does. So pretty neat stuff. The main product here is, or the main purpose of this product here is, this is done with a monochrome camera. So those imaging the sun, hydrogen alpha wise, with a monochrome camera are really gonna benefit from this product, especially for outreach. So once you're on this page, you want to go ahead and choose the download, or the user manual rather. Once you're in the user manual, there in the user manual is the link for the download. Go ahead and click it right here. It's a very easy software. I'm not going to go through installing it. You might need some prerequisites here on the product. He has included links there too for you. But once you have it downloaded, it's very simple. You just go ahead and create a shortcut on your desktop to the software. Accept these terms, operate at own risk. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, now this is going to assume that you have your camera, monochrome imaging camera, connected up to your computer and ready to go with the appropriate drivers already installed. And of course, would be helpful too if you have the sun centered in the eyepiece or in the CCD camera as well. Go ahead and choose your camera. Mine, of course, is the imaging source DMK21.04. This is a monochrome camera from the imaging source. Click on OK, and here is our view. Now, yours is going to look a little bit different from mine, but I'm going to go ahead and explain all of these parameters here. So this is one view here. We are looking at what is called the quad view. And I'm going to start with this quad view here because it kind of shows you what the purpose is of the product. You got 4 images here. You've got the lower right-hand pane there. That is our raw surface detail exposure. Okay. Next to that on the left is our raw edge exposure. See some of the smaller prominences there on the edge. In the upper right, the one that's flashing there, that's kind of where he's doing some of the magic, where he's combining, it looks like he's interweaving exposures of surface and of edge each other frame, perhaps to get this combined image here. And then on the left-hand side is our processed image. This is where we're adding color, and I'll explain all of these here for you. So this is the quad view. So let's go to just our surface raw. Show you where I'm talking about here. So here's our surface raw, and here's our edge raw. And then here is our processed. Don't really recommend going to combined raw because that's going to just flash so annoyingly. So just click on your surface and your edge. So here's what I recommend you do. You start off maybe with your surface, and it really depends upon what area that you want to focus on. I like surface detail. Of course, it really depends upon the prominences going on, but I like the surface detail a lot, especially for active regions. So we'll start off with surface detail. This is under view. So what we need to do is we need to set our surface exposure. So go to capture, go to set surface exposure, and I recommend starting out actually with unsetting all of your auto parameters of your camera. Okay, and these settings that I have are by no means a you have to do this. There's a lot of trial and error with the product, so just keep that in mind. But you want to go ahead and set your surface exposure to pick up the most detail as you possibly can, while still keeping in mind that your gamma setting here, which is usually a crank down for surface detail, well, if you crank it down too much, you're not really going to pick up a whole lot of prominences. So this gamma is kind of shared between both the views, so just keep that in mind. I found it to be 76 is okay. So once we click on OK, you notice it goes back to our live. So then you want to set your edge exposure. And as the name implies, your edge exposure is going to be what's going to try to pick up your prominences. And you know that this is different from our previous surface exposure. So that's what you're really kind of changing there. So let's look at that in the live setup here. Let's go to, we clicked on view and we went to edge raw. And now we're going to set our edge exposure here. Maybe I want to up it a little bit. Click on OK. Didn't really grab a whole lot more, but you kind of get the idea of what we're doing here. And move this over here. There we go. With these settings, set edge exposure. With a little longer. Yeah, and you see that kind of picked up a faint one there, a faint loop. Okay. My surface exposure, I think I was pretty happy with my surface exposure earlier. Let's go back to my surface raw, and let's just look around on our surface raw here. Yeah, I'm satisfied with the amount of detail that I'm picking up on surface right there with that. But you can adjust again to your particular needs. All right, so let's go and let's look at what the magic goes. So let's go look at our processed. Now, this is a processed image of my particular settings. So let's go ahead and look at those settings. This is where the color's being added, and you can go ahead and do a lot of playing around with that. So click on Settings and click on Show Process Settings. Small up the window here. All right. So this is where you're setting your surface colorization. Okay, you notice I just kind of like this orange myself. You don't have to do that, but this again is a lot of trial and error. He does have a default one in there that was pretty cool, but I really like this because to me, again, this is personal preference. I just really think the surface detail, especially the filaments, really kind of stand out with this particular color combination that I have. Go ahead and scoot around a little bit, but let's show you what this is doing here. So this is our surface settings. This is where you're choosing your colors. Of course, you want to choose colors that are very different, that have a lot of contrast. Now these sliders, you can see what I'm doing here. I'm sliding the cutoff level. Basically, I crank that all the way down to 0 because I want to get as much of the surface detail as possible. Shadows level, you can see what that does on the fly. Go ahead and brighten that up maybe to you're a little bit happier. Of course, you can see how the edge, though, does get broadened out a bit. So you want to set that to be a happy medium. I kind of like that. I'm still getting some edge detail as well. And of course, the highlights level, this setting, you can see what that's doing. I usually crank it all the way up. So now we get to our edge. And you notice how I've inverted this. So my surface detail is orange. Here my edge colors, shadows are black. Edge highlights orange, where my surface highlights are black. So again, you just want to go ahead and play around with these settings. Very, very easy to do. There's really no right way, no wrong way. It's just what is going to work for your particular scope combination and seeing conditions. So there. Once you have that and you're satisfied, well, now you can go ahead and share this view, or you can go ahead and actually save this view as to. Yes, it will save the process. It will also save your raw surface details as well. If you go to Capture, back to Capture, you'll see that you can capture your raw video. Never safe, I'm not really sure what that does, but I've usually captured it fast. And that, as the name implies, captures it raw. Now, capture process is usually what most people are going to do, especially if you want to process the color image. So once we click Capture Processed, you notice right down here on the bottom now of our screen, Image Pairs Recorded. So that's recording our processed image. And I'm actually just going to pan around a little bit so that if I share this video online, look at that filament, that is so nice. Share this video online, you know, people can go ahead and see that. Look at that, active region 2 right there. That's beautiful. All right, so once we are satisfied with the video, we go ahead and we choose Stop Capture. Now, where is it saving to? Well, those are under your Settings, Show Video Settings. You have a working directory location there. You also have a default settings here. I have not messed with either of these myself. I do know that frames per video clip is 100. So that's relatively short videos. Let me go ahead and show you where I'm saving it to. This is my working directory here. And you'll notice that it creates a folder with the date and time as well. Double click on that and you'll see that it split up the video. When it got to 100 frames, it split it up. It also saves your settings, which is very helpful too for you as well. I'm not sure if you can actually do anything with those, but that's good to reference. And then of course here's our process video. It does kind of move it around pretty fast. I'm not exactly sure how to adjust that, but I do it through an AVI, product anyway. So those are some of the major capabilities of Dave's Solar Recorder. So now let's go and let's look at our settings for our video. Let's go back to some of our settings here. Oops, not some process settings, rather. There we go, process settings. All right, so let's say we come up with a color combination that we really, really like. One of the great things about the product is once we get the settings that we're satisfied with, go ahead and click on Settings and save those settings. It'll save these settings, whatever file name that you go ahead and you choose. And I recommend going ahead and name it based on your color combination and even perhaps the date that you are recording. I find that kind of helpful, especially for processed video. So you see that there's a number of settings that you can go ahead and do. And of course, the default settings are still there, etc. Now let's say that you have this loaded. You can also obviously load settings. So let's load one that I've done before. Let's load the blue one. There we go. We've loaded the blue one up here. Now the blue one, I've got to make some major adjustments, it looks like, with my exposures. So let's see what we can get with our exposures here. There we go. So I need to up my surface exposure for this particular color combination. There you go. You can kind of go ahead and see this one's kind of fun too for outreach. More of a traditional yellowish sun with a blue background. Just kind of scooting around to see edge prominences. And of course, if I make any sliding adjustments with this, and if I don't save it, you'll lose it. So just keep that in mind. So again, you can see you can come up with really any degree of variation, any degree of color combination that you want. It really just depends upon what you like, and it's a lot of fun to play with the different color combinations and find a unique one amongst all the different combinations that you truly like. Once you do, go ahead and click Save, and you can reference that at any particular time. You can also save the settings that you're using as the default. So each and every time you open up Dave's Solar Recorder, it will go ahead and open up to those settings. So Dave's Solar Recorder, really fantastic product. It's free. If there is an option to go ahead and donate to him on his page, I would really recommend you do so because it's really a great product for monochrome solar imagers. So thanks for watching, everyone, and I hope that you enjoyed this review of the product.